Listen, I love wrestling. I love it so much. In 2019, I went down the rabbit hole. I was submerged up to my neck in wrestling, from Raw to SmackDown to some AEW, even some TNA, as well as some New Japan. But now, it's gotten to the point where it's so damn bad. I've gotten into Formula One. And that's not a knock on Formula One, obviously. Formula One's great. It's, if I may say so,
simply lovely.
Some of you might be saying, then why? Why do you still pay attention to it? Why do you still watch the segments? And that's because
it's still real to me, damn it!
No, but seriously, it's just, I love it. Wrestling is my favorite sport. I have so much passion for wrestling. From the work that the wrestlers put in the ring, the sacrifices out of the ring, the storylines, when they're good, they are good. And people want to make fun of me. Yeah, it's fake. It's not fake. It's scripted. But I get your point, you know? People want to be like, oh, watch some real fighting like UFC. And then the hypocrisy, because people are like, oh, UFC's boring because there's no storylines, there's no feuds or beefs between fighters. Like, come on. How are you going to trash wrestling for being exactly what you want in UFC? But I digress. Point is, it's only gotten this bad because of booking. It's gotten to the point where watching weekly shows just feels like a job. It feels like a chore. And that's what I'm seeing in the content creators and the channels that make their wrestling weekly show or pay-per-view reviews. Yes, I'm calling them pay-per-views. I'm so done with PLE. What, premium live excrement? That's pretty much what they are at this point. But no, I'm calling them pay-per-views. Who's to blame the most for this, though? Triple H. As much as people critique Tony Khan's booking, and as much as I don't like AEW, how are we barely getting to the point where people are critiquing Triple H's booking now? Now after R-Truth's release, if you will say. That's what opened people's eyes to Triple H being a fraud, terrible booker. I mean, I'm happy about that. It's a win. I've been feeling this way since last WrestleMania. Man, I was so excited for this year's WrestleMania. And as much as I hated the Super Cena era, I could never get behind Cena because Punk was always my favorite. Was. Definitely a rant for a different day. Anyways, I was so excited for WrestleMania 41, but I was with everyone on how it was such a shit card. 2 nights of just filler. The only match that really mattered, in my opinion, was Cena-Cody. And even though people want to say it wasn't a good match, I thought it was pretty good. Sure, Travis Scott showing up killed it a bit, but it was still good. Now, why was this WrestleMania so bad? Because it was Triple H's booking. But what people don't realize, he had been terribly booking everyone since the previous WrestleMania. WrestleMania 40 was so good because that was the end of Vince's storylines. The last bit of booking left over from Vince's era. I'll do a hot take. Now, don't get me wrong. Vince, the person, is a piece of shit. He did some terrible things if the allegations are all true, and if they are true, he should pay for what he did. But at this point in time, I still feel like Vince could return back and still book way better than what Triple H has been doing. If Vince was still in charge, even if it was the same card at this year's WrestleMania, I bet Vince would have had us hyped for that card. He would have found a way to hype it up and sell it as much as possible. Hey, at least the live crowds are happy, you know? At least they're happy that they get to chant and sing along like it's a concert, right? All right, let's review some rosters from TNA to some AEW to WWE. Hell, even I'll review some NXT. Let's see. Let's dive into the stars and the talent. With TNA, there isn't much to say. Who really is on the roster? To me, the only marquee names that really stand out are Nick Nemeth and Joe Hendry. That's about it. For the women's division, I can't really think of anyone that's like, oh, like once they get a decent push, once they do connect more with the crowd, hey, maybe they could go to WWE. Masha Slamovich. Does anybody even pay attention to her matches? Does anybody even know what the hell I just said? Masha Slamovich? Yeah. Moving on to AEW. Does anybody still think MJF is a star? I don't see it anymore. Ever since the Adam Cole storyline, the Brochachos thing, I don't see MJF as a big star. Don't get me wrong. The segments with him and the Hurt Syndicate, they're pretty good. They're fun. They're entertaining. Those segments were probably more entertaining the last few months, maybe even longer than that, of the weekly shows from WWE. Bobby's the star of the group. Will he get the singles push? Maybe. Will he have the feud with MJF? I hope so, but we never know with Tony's booking. I hope Bobby gets his hands on that world title. Speaking of the world title, I don't even know what to say about Jon Moxley. This whole neo-Nazi badass gimmick he's got going on just doesn't connect with me. And I see it now with the crowds. Obviously, everyone's tired of him being the world champion. But to me, and I'll say this, I don't really like AEW much. I haven't paid enough attention to it in a while to say much. But who really is there to take the title off him? I don't see Will Ospreay as the big star that everyone hypes him up as. He's just so overrated to me. Another hot take right here. There's another high flyer in that roster that I feel could really shine if he could get his in-ring work a lot better and improved, which I feel like he can. Sammy Guevara. Now that he's tag team partners with Dustin Rhodes, I feel like Dustin Rhodes can really mentor him, show him how to improve the in-ring work, the psychology. Sure, he's not a good promo, but most of the top stars in AEW aren't that good at promo. And it's not necessary, honestly. I used to think it was, but I feel like now it just, you don't need to be a good promo. That's what managers are for. Then again, it's not like both companies hardly use the manager role anymore. It's rare to see a manager. Gonna move on to Adam Page. I just don't see it. I don't see what people see in him. He just comes off like such a whiny little bitch most of the time. He's supposed to be a heel, then he comes out there, he's cutting like a babyface-esque promo. He's out there with trying to beat up Swerve Strickland in his butterfly jeans. I don't get it. For the women's division, Toni Storm. Toni Storm is fantastic. I wanted her to be pushed so bad in WWE when she was there. I was so mad. It was so irritating when that segment with Toni and Charlotte, where Charlotte just threw pies at Toni's face, and all Toni could do was just stand there and do nothing. And then, yeah, they release her. But that was the best thing that could have happened for her. She's now carrying that women's division. She's honestly the best thing in that women's division. On the other hand, Athena's really good. I saw her match with Mercedes from a couple months ago. That was a classic. That was a really good match. Mercedes, I thought she really regressed since she left WWE. I used to say this, and I thought so for up until I saw her work in New Japan. I would say Sasha Banks was the best women's wrestler in the world. Then she regressed in New Japan. But I see that she's working on it. It really seems like she's putting in the effort to get back to that point where she was on top in WWE. But now it's Mercedes. But does anyone really care that she has 4 titles? Do they really hold any weight? She's getting the most Hulk Hogan-esque push. And is the crowd really connected with her? Hell, she might even beat Toni Storm pretty soon. Apart from those 3, I think Jamie Hayter deserves another push. Sure, she got the title before and then injury, so she dropped it, but I wholeheartedly believe that she deserves another big push. She has so much potential, and now she's just getting treated like Chris Statlander and jobbing. Moving on to NXT. Honestly, I said this not too long ago, that NXT was putting on some of the best wrestling of recent. Up until maybe, I think it was Battleground, they were having some of the best wrestling and segments on NXT. Now, do I see many of the men from their division going up to the main roster and doing something? Not really. I don't think Obafemi is going to translate that same success from NXT to the main roster. I believe Trick Williams isn't going to do that either. I think Trick Williams is way better than Carmelo Hayes, so to me it didn't make sense that Melo went to the main roster before Trick. Sure, Trick is the TNA World Champion, he just beat Joe Hendry for that. But does it really matter? He's probably not going to hold it for long. People are hopeful he's going to get brought up to the main roster pretty soon. I don't see it. I see them keeping him on NXT. He's probably going to keep feuding with maybe someone from TNA, maybe Joe Hendry. That would make sense, right? Rematch clause. If those still exist, but they only exist when it's convenient, right? Anyways, Miles Bourne, I see a lot of potential in that guy. That guy, he's got the it factor. It's just about how they book him, how they push him. It's got to be right. And for the women's division, this was one of the best women's divisions because they moved up Julia, they moved up Stephanie Vacour up to the main rosters already. And Julia is amazing. She is really talented. That match she had with Jordynne Grace was insane. The bump she took on her head, that pile driver where her head just crashed into the mat with no bend to her neck, just looked like it could have killed her instantly. Stephanie is really good. It's just that, what's it called? The Devil's Kiss, I think is the move. The one that Booker T likes to simp over, that gooner Booker T. Yeah, it's just that move. It makes no sense to me, except something for the simps to look at. Jordynne Grace, on the other hand, I don't understand how or why they had her lose to Stephanie if Stephanie was still going to drop the title. And she ended up dropping it to JC Jane, of all people. But I digress. That's the cream of the crop right now. The talent that's coming up from NXT, that's really going to push the main roster, because right now the main roster's struggling. They can't build stars. It doesn't seem like Triple H is even trying to build stars. It seems like they just keep throwing out the mid-carders and, yeah, just have a match against so-and-so. Just, oh, yeah, another match against another mid-carder. It just doesn't do much for them. That's why people are complaining that they haven't built any big star since Roman with the Tribal Chief run. I know I said that Tony and AEW are what's best for business. They're helping give a lot of talent. People are just getting released like it's nothing from WWE or other companies. Especially in the economic state we're in 2025. It's a good thing. He's keeping these talents just on his roster, even if he's not using them. But the thing is that AEW isn't competition, because if it was competition to WWE would actually be trying They're not even trying. It's just they're doing the bare minimum. They're just scraping the bottom of the barrel and just throwing that out there and being like, yep, that's going to get the ratings. That's going to get the numbers we want. Because obviously there's no competition to us. I mean, they've said it plenty of times. It's a long shot, but I just truly, really hope that Tony Khan turns heel. He finally snaps and says, hey, this is my company. We need to push it. We need to push the pace. We need to really make them feel the fire. Compete with them. Make them put on better product. And I know Tony can, because that AEW roster has so much talent that just isn't used or used properly. Hopefully he turns heel. And that's a rant for another day. But in conclusion, what irritates me the most about wrestling right now isn't the crowds, isn't the booking. It's the people that review it. It's the content creators, the channels that go and review the weekly shows, the pay-per-views. Because, yeah, I'm not calling it PLE anymore. They just go out of their way to review them, put out that review as quick as possible. Because, I need to get it out there before anyone else does. I need to take advantage of that monetization. I need to get that ad revenue. And there's no passion in those reviews. They're passionate about wrestling, but they're not passionate in their reviews about it. Sure, they're critiquing the same things I'm critiquing as well. But what really irritates me about it is that when they review these shows, no matter how shit it is, review it completely. Because if not, what's the point? How are you going to be like, oh, so-and-so came out there for a match against so-and-so. It was shit. Moving on. Oh, so-and-so came out for a promo. I skipped it. I don't want to hear what they have to say. Oh, so-and-so had a segment. I watched it for a second, and I moved on. How is that a proper review? If you're going to review it, take the full stride and review it entirely in its full. Put the passion behind it. Tell everyone why it's shit. Don't just be like, oh, it was shit. Moving on. But it's time to bring back the passion for wrestling. Don't just think of wrestling as a way to get paid. Don't just put out these videos because you're thinking of the ad revenue. If you love it, if you have that much passion for wrestling, do it because of that. Don't do it because you see the dollar signs.